Welcome to What the World Needs Now with hosts Tom Whisinnand and Josh Monroe. We hope you're able to leave feeling encouraged and ready for another day of changing lives in the field of education as we speak with inspirational teachers from across the nation and world about what keeps their spark lit.
In this episode, Shaughn Thomas, an award-winning math teacher from Texas, brings his energy and shares his story about inspiring students. Without any further ado, Shaughn Thomas.
Well, Shaughn, thank you for being here with us tonight. For those listeners who don't have the privilege of knowing who you are, would you introduce yourself? Who are you, where are you from, and what's your role in education?
Okay, my name is Shaughn Thomas, and I live in Houston, Texas. I teach 7th grade math. I'm the master edge teacher. And also, I am the founder of an after-school program called Invest in Yourself, which focuses on financial literacy.
Awesome. And we talked a little bit about your foundation. Can you explain that a little bit more to us?
Okay, so Invest in Yourself is a after-school program dedicated to teaching the youth and community financial literacy. I founded in 2016. I started off with just a $500 donation from Exposure Foundation, and basically teaching the youth about financial literacy, teaching them about banking, saving, credit, debt, stock market, and also entrepreneurship. So these things aren't really taught to us in regular traditional school. So instead of complaining about it, I wanted to be part of the solution. So my students earn while you learn philosophy. So my students get paid to be a part of the program, and part of the money that they earn, they put into a savings account which they open. The other part they invest into stock market, so that they can begin investing. And not only do they begin investing, but they also teach members of the community as well as their peers how to invest. So we do community workshops, and they teach the adults and their family and friends how to invest so that we can end the cycle, so that they don't have to live check to check. And then also my students, entrepreneurship. So a lot of our youth have great ideas, and we tell them that they have to wait till they get older, but that's not true. Go ahead and start it now. Put in those 10,000 hours so that you can go ahead and maybe you can do it while you're in high school and middle school, and maybe you don't have to go to college, or maybe you can pay for your own college. Some students have started their companies, and some have been on TV. And also, like I said, with the stock market, my students are middle schoolers, they're very smart. And we've been in competitions where they rank us. So we have a stock market game, they give you $100,000 of simulated money. And my students have turned that from 100,000 to 100. One of the groups turned to 100,000 to 152,000 in 9 months. And so they beat out all the middle schoolers and high schoolers in the category. And, I took them to New York City so they could see Wall Street, and, they've been in magazines. So, and it's great to see that, they're taking it and they're running with it. So for me, the program is growing, and we also teach college students and high schoolers as well. So it's just my job to kind of, teach financial literacy to as many people as I can to help them create a better life for themselves.
I love it. I think what you're saying is absolutely right. We were not taught about credit and debt and the stock market and how to invest in schools. It's something you're supposed to figure out, I suppose, on your own, or if it interests you. But good for you for taking it to the community and telling them what it's all about, and then giving back to the community and letting them experience what it is to invest in the market and
Right.
to have those returns.
Definitely.
How did you end up in education with all this knowledge, financial knowledge? What has your path been to get you into the classroom?
Well, it seems like nowadays it's like real non-traditional for a lot of teachers. They didn't go to school for education. So I fall in that same category. So growing up, I did not like school at all. I would find any way to leave and ditch, but I went to school for business, and I got my bachelor's in sales and marketing, and then I received my MBA as well. And then I wanted to be in marketing. So marketing is my thing that I feel like I'm pretty good at, and something I had a passion for. But when I got to the corporate world, I couldn't get the position that I want to initially. And then, you had to find your way. And I was like, this is not for me. Like, I can't see myself waking up every day to do this. Like, this is life. This is what we went to school for. So I was like in this little depressed state where my wife would ask me, how was work? And I was like, it's all right. And she's like, you're not excited? No, not at all. Like, this is so she said, why don't you start teaching? And I was opposed to it at first because, I haven't been around kids. But, I have fun with kids, but I wasn't around them. I was like, I don't know. So I took the test. I went to alternative certification. I took the test. I passed the first time, and I was like, well, I guess I got to go ahead and do it. I went to school, and the first semester I was kind of like half, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because I still was like, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do. I kind of want to find my way. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. And my first semester, I was terrible, just terrible. But when I started teaching, I found it was the first time where it didn't feel like work to me, because I saw like students that I taught were like, that's me. Like, they were so funny. They, have an engaging. So I was like, man, like, they remind me of myself. So now I have to figure out a way to transform the way that people traditionally receive content. I have to figure out a way to make it fun and engaging, and just the way that I would like to receive it as a kid. And so once I did that, or once I took that mindset, then, everything took off. So I took all the, I used to throw parties for a living too. So I took all that fun aspect of it and marketing, and I brought all that to the classroom. And, that kind of, got me to where I'm at now.
I love it. I bet your kids love being in your class too. What are some ways that you engage with your kids? I know you've got your after school program, but during the school day, what are some ways that you're investing in them and hearing their voices?
Well, I would say probably 2017 is when I had went to visit the Ron Clark Academy. It was actually a Christmas gift from my wife. And when I went there, I was like, this is what I've been thinking the whole time. Like, this is possible, right? So when I went there, I went by myself, and I came back. I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to transform my classroom to, the seating, flexible seating. So I spent $1,500 of my own money, and I went on Amazon and I just bought everything. And I transformed my classroom into like, it had futons, bean bags. Like, I had no desk in my room whatsoever. And first of all, so that for me, if I'm gonna be at work every day, I want the environment to be somewhat colorful. I want it to be comfortable. Like, I don't want to sit at a desk every day either. Like, I may teach from a beanbag one day. I may teach standing up on a desk. I may teach whatever. So just kind of having that, I want kids to want to come to my classroom. So first of all, just the atmosphere coming in. So, and every year since then, I put like $25 or $30 a check to the side so that I can buy new furniture every year. So that's one thing that I do. But also just be fun and engaging. So my students, they know about me. I tell them about my life. So they know my family. They feel like they do already. And I just kind of keep, like the lessons fun. And I ask my students about them. So everything isn't about the content. Like, for me to build a relationship with them, I have to ask them what their gifts are, what do they like to do. And, and that's how we do, have that, comfortability with each other. And then from there, I'm able to bond and kind of, get them to do whatever I need them to do.
I heard one time the best thing a teacher can ask themselves is if they want to be would you want to be in your own class?
Exactly.
And boy, sometimes if I ask myself that on some days, I'm not sure I would be. I'm not sure I would want to be in my own class. But it sounds like you really have taken that to heart and created a space where kids want to come, they want to learn, they want to engage. So kudos to you for really taking that to the next level with the not just making them feel safe and secure emotionally, but like physically too. I think sometimes the physical environment of a classroom is overlooked, and then we wonder why kids they're not as engaged as what we want them to be. So right. That's awesome.
Right. And sorry, and to that, like, some teachers would come into some people would come to the classroom like, well, your kids look super relaxed. Like, are they working? Like, yes, they don't have to sit at a desk. They can sit with their legs up, with the clipboard and, and write their homework. They can do it like that. They want to be comfortable. and I have music playing. Like music is a big thing in my class too. So when they come in, it gets the vibe right, gets my energy right. And then while they're doing independent work or in transitions, I play instrumentals and just kind of get it flowing, just because like being dead quiet, that like really, I don't like it. Like I don't like a quiet room. So when they're taking tests like that, really, it's like torture for me because it's quiet. So, so again, music is another thing too, like music and having the visual. You want kids to, because if you're going somewhere, you're somewhere 8 hours a day and every class looks the same for the most part, you're going to get burnt out. So if you have that one class that you like, I look forward to because it's going to be completely different, you may have a different outlook and they have a different attitude when they come to your class.
What kind of music you vibing with?
I do everything. So I like hip hop, but I do hip hop, I do jazz, I do alternative, I do Hispanic, like Latin. Like it just depends on the mood. So a lot of times I let them pick. I say, what songs you like? You guys put a list together for this class. Fill out this paper, and I'll just find the instrumentals or the songs depending on the lyrics. And I may play the lyrics, I may play the song. It just depends, and I just kind of go from there. And I create a YouTube playlist, and I just go shuffle, and we just go from there.
I love it.
It's amazing how much music can change the atmosphere in a classroom. When I was in high school, the way you're talking about it, how every class can look the same, and you're going to 8 different classes. I had one teacher who always had Jack Johnson on when you walked in. And so, I mean, that's how I got introduced to banana pancakes and upside down. But that was my favorite class. And it wasn't necessarily because of the content. It was just the atmosphere that he created that made it enjoyable for me. So
exactly.
Hey, are you guys back full-time students? Are you remote? How does that look down in Houston?
It's a combination. They just came out with something 2 weeks ago where 46% of the state is virtual remote learning, and then the other are face-to-face. So you have every 9 weeks they give you the option to switch whether or not you want to be face-to-face or so me since the pandemic started, I've been 100% virtual. Like I'm very good with technology, so that was easy for me because a lot of teachers and my team, they're more better face-to-face. So I was able to do that. So they have less students, have more, but we give and take however that is. So being virtual has been, it's fun at times, you know what I mean? But you don't get that same, kind of interaction. So that's probably been the most difficult part, like, just not being able to actually see them and, kind of get that energy face to face.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably comfortable sitting in their own furniture, some of them, right? But they'd rather be sitting in your furniture listening to your music.
Yeah, right.
And, you'd probably want them there, right?
Yeah. So
how have you managed to stay inspired? Like you're clearly a high energy individual. You clearly love what you do. How have you managed to stay inspired over the last almost year? We're coming up on a year of this pandemic.
Well, with the classroom, I brought what I can from my classroom to the virtual. So even with music, I still bring that in. As soon as they come in, music is playing. Every time they transition, like when we're doing stuff, because my classes are an hour long, so it's boom, boom, boom. But music is playing nonstop. And I make sure that I'm super animated because I'm on screen, so I can't just be blah. So I have to bring that energy, nonstop. And once I teach, like that is fun, but the admin part of it, okay, that's never fun. When you're teaching and they tell you to do this and that's never fun. But it's been times when it's been hard to actually stay, inspired, just because it's different. Very creative, and I could do this and that, but just internally, sometimes it's like you could need something to pull from. So what I do is, I look online, I look at Instagram, I look at Facebook, I look at you guys, and I just see, everybody who's doing something, and that inspires me to kind of keep going. And then also I just have I have to remember why I'm doing this, why am I teaching, and thinking about I have to figure out how to keep my kids wanting to do this, keep them wanting to come to my class. Why do they, I want to log on to Mr. Thomas's class. So, that is something that I have to keep in mind every day. And that's kind of what helps me and keeps inspired, just figuring out ways to keep them motivated and to keep my energy level fun. And me being silly, with my kids, that helps a lot too. So my wife looks at me while I'm teaching sometimes and just shakes her head.
That's how you know you're doing a good job. When you
Yeah,
get
so,
when you get a non-teacher look at you and you're like, what was that?
yeah, exactly.
You don't get it.
Exactly.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
So being online, we're in person for the most part now. I've got a few kids on Zoom, but we're teaching in person and online at the same time. Online's a different beast. And like you said, you're good at technology. You gotta be good with technology. Are there any innovative apps or websites or programs that you're using with your kids to help them stay engaged?
Yeah, so one of the things that I first discovered when the school year first started was Snap Camera, where you can, like, if you're in Zoom, you could do it, but we use Teams, so we can't do it like live. So I like just pre-record videos, like tutorial videos, and they can do it. But you can create filters for yourself, and you can teach like as a different character, so live. So I can be a cookie, I can be a donkey, I can be whatever, and I can teach just like that. So like that's something that's super fun. My kids love Nearpod. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. So Nearpod is very fun. We use that a lot. And just engage and stuff, because when you're teaching online, like if you're in person, there are times when you can, like, teachers can hide, meaning like, okay, you go ahead and do this worksheet over here while I do this. And you may have like a little lax moment. But when you're teaching virtual, like the camera is on you the whole time. So that means you really have to know what you're going to do and have this set. So that keeps you on your toes. So like those apps and just kind of creating, like I'm good with editing videos. So like Final Cut Pro, or iMovie, or things of that nature. I may just create little quick videos to kind of teach them, or I have my kids create tutorial videos themselves. Things that we're going over. Just anything that I could put my hands on, anything that they're interested in, I just make it related to what we're doing.
I gotta be full disclosure here right now, Shaughn. When you made those donkey videos, um, I don't know if I ever laughed that hard in a long time. That was the coolest thing. And then I think we did like one as a cat or something. Like it,
Yeah.
it was incredible.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the way that you find ways to keep the online people there. You have to keep them coming back. It's, I hate saying this, but it kind of is a choice. Do I log in? Do I not log in? And I think we're seeing that across the country with a lot of these remote learners. Man, if you're up and you're at school, well, walk to class, but it's really easy not to log into a class or two. So good for you for finding those ways to keep them engaged.
And one of the battles that I don't really when like having the camera on, like initially that was like a thing they wanted us to have, like cameras on. But for me, I don't even fight that battle. If you want to turn your camera on, you can turn your camera on. I'm able to see you work live by the apps that we use. So as long as I see you working, have it off. You know what I mean? If you want to turn it on, I don't know your situation. I don't know your background. So I just want you to be engaged. So, sometimes kids don't want to log on because that may be an issue. So I find different ways for them to engage to make sure. So fight your different battles and choose your battles, and go ahead.
I think the kids appreciate that too, because I may not want you to see what I live like. I may not want you to see my surroundings. And so good on you for really appreciating that about student situations. I think that's really huge. And I think they respect that from adults when they get that kind of, respect.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's definitely something that teachers need to keep in mind too, is that kids aren't coming to us necessarily with the best background or the best home life. They might not have their camera on. It's not because they don't want you to see them. It's because of what they're living in. And I think sometimes administrators miss that part. They have the kids turn their camera on so that they're there and working, but they're missing out on, well, why might that camera be off? It's not about compliance. It's making sure that the kid's comfortable. Let's get them there first. Let's worry about them being with us.
That's key. That's it right there. That's it.
Hey, there's a lot going on in education today. I mean, we just talked about the virtual versus in person. Some teachers aren't great with technology. Some are amazing at it. There's a lot of issues, funding, from the national level to the state level to the local level. What in your opinion is one of the biggest rocks, biggest things, biggest, I guess, I don't know, biggest rocks that education is facing today, Shaughn?
I just think the education and system as a whole just kind of fails our children, just the way it's set up, especially in economically disadvantaged areas. Um, like state testing, like of course you need data. Like I understand that, especially with funding and things of that nature. Like cool, but just the way that we uh, test kids, you know, teachers are forced to teach in a certain way because they have to pass this test. You can't be as creative as you want. In a perfect world scenario for me, I wish that it was a way that we can introduce kids to different career paths early. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe, okay, this week we're doing nursing. Okay, so all the kids, our project is based on that. So maybe ELA, social studies, whatever it's about nursing that week. And maybe you have real people come in and maybe you can do projects about that. Maybe it's plumbing, maybe it's engineering. Like maybe it's something that maybe it's financial literacy, different ways that we can engage and introduce our kids to these different things, like more project-based learning, something that that they can use. Because a lot of our students are, or everybody has genius level talent. We just have to figure out what it is. So you may have a kid who's a genius at art, maybe genius at, creativity or solving problems or, science or whatever it may be. But the tests that we take don't test for those things that they're geniuses at. And then we label those kids as not smart or left behind or this, because we always say that our kids are, or in education, they're behind. But behind in what? Like, what exactly by this standard that you set that doesn't test that what they're interested in? So, I think that we just need to revamp. I'm not sure how they would do it, but just that whole thing of just introducing, career paths and kind of changing the curriculum. Because if you think about it, our parents learned the same thing that we did. Like and like business has evolved. Every industry has evolved like tremendously, even cars, right? But education somewhat stayed the same. Like, our parents can basically tell us what they're learning. Like, okay, what, software X or whatever is cool. But I just think we just need to transform our content to kind of adapt to the times of what we are. And if we can do that, I think we'll have more kids who are engaged in school and give them more of an interest, because a lot of times they're not interested because they don't see the value in it. They don't see how it's going to relate to them. And if sometimes we have to teach them, okay, how is this going to help us in real life? And sometimes we have to think like, are they going to use this? Or let's figure out something that we can say that it's going to help them so that they can make sure that they learn the content. So I don't want to like have to create stories. Let's just actually figure out things that they're going to use that we know about, and then kind of introduce them to different things, expose them. So.
It does feel very much like we're stuck in the Industrial Revolution. Like, here's the kid, package them, move them along, package them, move them along. And it would be nice. It would be hard work, but it's what kids deserve, is for us to come up with a way that best helps them learn. And you were talking about the testing. Like, a kid might not be able to look at a test and tell you the difference between an animal cell and a plant cell, but let them show you with clay or some other way, and they're going to be able to do it. We want to tap into those geniuses, as you're saying. Oh, Shaughn, you got any advice for some of our listeners? We've got a lot of teachers that are in a lot of college students that are getting ready to become teachers. We've got student teachers, earlier in the career teachers, veteran teachers. What advice would you give them as they get ready to go into their career, as they enter the end of their career? What advice would you give to them about staying inspired?
I would say, think about a teacher who inspired you, and then also, or the teacher or persons who inspire you, and think about what kind of classroom do you wish that you can have? Like, what kind of teacher do you wish that you can be, and be that teacher? Know that it's really about building relationships with your students. It's not, the content will come, right? So you have to just figure out just to build relationships and figure out your why. Like, why did you want to become a teacher? Why are you going to get up every day? What's your reason to go to class? And then also they're like, keep that energy. Like when new teachers come in, they're excited, energetic, they have all these ideas, and then by year 2 or 3, sometimes they get beat down, right? And then, you know, either by teachers who've been there for years, or maybe administration because they don't like the new ideas that's coming in or something of that nature. So just kind of be inspired, like just keep that energy, look for like the other educators and look for different things that can help you outside of school. So think of like clubs or activities or whatever you're interested in. If you're a person and you're good at art, or if you're good at music, bring a program to the school to introduce that as well. So don't just concentrate mostly of, you know, just on the content. Bring your talents to the kids and introduce them to that and expose them to that, and you know, you'll have a more better experience with your school, because you're educating the whole child. You're not just helping them with the content, you're introducing them to other things. So I would say just bring that energy, be hardworking and dedicated, and just kind of figure out innovative ways to keep teaching. And also don't take things personally. That's the main thing. Kids are going to get on your nerves, like they are. All right, they're going to love you one day, they're going to not like you the next day, and 10 minutes later they're going to try to like, hey, how you doing? Like nothing ever happened. So don't take things personally. And then also just that one kid in your class, or 1 or 2 kids who always gives you problems, right? That should be your favorite student, right? Because once you win them over, you'll probably win the whole class over. So think of everything in a positive light. Try to find a positive in everything.
Yeah, that not taking it personally, that takes a while to learn. I remember a few times they'd come up, you know, after they tick you off a little bit, and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to come play at recess? And you want to be like, what? Do you not remember what you just said to me 10 minutes ago?
Exactly.
That's a good one though. It's hard to learn, but it's really important.
Yeah.
I love that you said to bring what you are passionate about. If you're passionate about the arts, or you're passionate about finance like yourself, or you're passionate about politics or whatever, bring that passion with you to school. You don't need to check it at the door. Well, politics maybe sometimes, but you know, it's part of who you are. Bring that. And I think the kids will really respect that, and they'll want to know about you. And yeah, man, you have to have fun at your job. And if you're not having fun, and you dread getting up, just like you said at the start of this interview, like it's not going to be good. It's not a good fit. So bring that passion, whatever it is that you're passionate about. Found a club, find some way to engage that passion. And I think good things will happen, you know?
Definitely.
At the end of every interview, we ask, what does the world need now? There was a song back in the 60s about what the world needs now. And sometimes I sing, but Josh makes me really nervous. So sometimes I don't. But what does the world need now?
Love and compassion. If we, you know, all just love and have compassion for each other, the decisions that we make if we thought about other people, everybody thought about another person and the decision that they make, we live in a better world. We'd be less greed, you know, hunger. Our world would be in a different place, like as far as just like being healthy. And so I just think that we all just need to go back to the basics, you know, love your person, treat people how you want to be treated. And, you know, I think a lot of our problems will be solved. You know, look at everybody as equal. You know, no one's better than nobody else, no matter how your class, your race, how much money you have. You know, just treat everybody as you want to be treated and love everybody. And I think everything would be, you know, simple as that.
Be good.
Sometimes it is just that simple. Just be kind, be loving, be compassionate. Think before you speak sometimes.
Right. Yep.
Shaughn, thank you so much for being with us. This was a lot of fun. I loved getting to know you and hearing your story. And thank you for inspiring me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like I said, I love what you guys do. So it was a pleasure being on here, and I appreciate you asking me to be on.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in this week. Hopefully you're ready for another week of changing lives. We're so thankful and appreciative that you took time to listen to our guest, Shaughn Thomas.
We hope that as you head out, you remember that the biggest factor that plays into student success is you. Your love, your passion, your empathy, your dedication is exactly what the world needs now. Thank you for all you do. Have a good one.